Hello everyone and welcome back to my freak show. Huge shout out to a new patron, Zach That Guy. Thank you dearly for your support, Zach. And if you guys need anything to read, my books are for free on Amazon Unlimited. There's plenty, you know. This theory has stewed, pun intended, in my head for nearly 2 years since American Horror Story 1984 ended. And this is a theory fit for an awesome viewer like yourself. So I do hope you enjoy it. In the season finale of 1984, something Montana said to Bobby stuck out to my head, and it just made me ask the question, is American Horror Story a product of Bobby Richter? Now, spoiler warning for every season of AHS. Allow me to explain what set this theory into motion. In the season finale of American Horror Story 1984, Montana says to Bobby, and I quote, "Get out of here and never come back. But don't forget about us. Tell our ghost stories to your children and we'll live on forever." Now, it made me wonder if Bobby did just that and told his children stories about the ghosts living in Camp Redwood. And if so, where did it all lead to? So here is my theory. Bobby Richter got married. He had children. And he told them stories about their grandfather and how he was blamed for the murders that Margaret committed, and of course the ghosts residing at Camp Redwood like he promised Montana. However, to truly allow the ghosts to live forever, Bobby used the stories as inspiration for a novel. More than likely, Benjamin was never vindicated and still labeled as Mr. Jingles even in 2019 when season 9 ended. Bobby could have absolutely used the fact that he is Mr. Jingles' son to market and capitalize on his novel. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't doubt that the book would have been a hit. I absolutely would have read it. So I told you how it's possible that Bobby wrote about the ghost stories and his experience at Camp Redwood and how that book would have been successful. Now let me speculate the success about that book, which undoubtedly would have been massive. The success more than likely encouraged him to visit other cursed properties in order to, speak to those residing on the property. His intention is to do what Montana said, to tell their stories so they can live forever. Maybe clear someone of a crime the way that he cleared his father. His first stop would have been the most infamous house in the city of Los Angeles, the murder house. According to the show, everyone knows about the murder house and its bloody history. So Bobby more than likely traveled to the cursed property. And I'm guessing he did his research and was smart enough to ask Billy Dean Howard to assist in negotiating a truce with the ghosts of the murder house, so that way he could speak to the ones who wanted to tell them his story. Now, I can't tell you if Bobby knew that the people who die in the house stay as ghosts, like at Camp Redwood. Now, regardless if Bobby knew this fact or not, the house was well known for copious amounts of death. So, by logical deduction, Bobby would have known that this would have been a great place to start contacting ghosts. Once again, taking the stories of the ghosts in the murder house and publishing them made Bobby feel complete. He possibly cleared his dad's name with the previous book, and he felt genuinely like he did what Montana asked him to do. So he continued to visit and research places known to be hotspots for ghosts, like Briarcliff Asylum, the freak show that once existed in Florida, the Hotel Cortez, and the cursed home from My Roanoke Nightmare, the television show. More than likely, Coven was assembled from Bobby researching witches. Perhaps Bobby thought it was magic that kept the spirits bound to Camp Redwood and the other locations, so he checked out the witches to see if it was possible. And in the end, maybe it inspired him to write a fictional book about witches, and ultimately how they create the apocalypse. As far as cult, Bobby wanted to write something different and tell the stories of the survivors. So he researched the cult leader Kai Anderson and talked to Allie and the other survivors of the cult and published a book based on the survivors' experience. Now, I can go further and speculate that, heck, Bobby might have even tracked down Lana Winters. We know that she was alive in season 6, so it's highly possible she is still alive in 2019, and so on. I bet he was easily able to get a meeting with her, seeing as that he's Mr. Jingle's son, and published so many successful novels. Perhaps she's impressed by the young Bobby, his books and his thorough research, and his respect for the dead that she gives his books to a struggling television network like FX, who buys the rights to Bobby's books, and bam, we get American Horror Story. Now, before you say it, guys, I know, of course, that Brad Falchuk and Ryan Murphy created the series, but I'm theorizing that Bobby Richter represents Brad and Ryan's physical presence on the show, making them still the true writers, but just in a different fashion. I would love for the final season of AHS to end the way that it usually does. We get an ending to a storyline that was built up for 10 or more episodes, except at the end of the final episode, we leave that story and flash to Bobby Richter, who is now an old man, writing the final line of season 12 on his computer. We see 11 books behind him, all possessing the names of every season of American Horror Story, and Bobby types the end on the computer document with the same title as the final season of American Horror Story. He turns off the computer, puts a pistol to his head, and shoots his brains out while his children play outside of his window. No, guys, I'm just totally kidding about the gun part. I was just trying to be all dramatic and twisty. Now, here's my real ending, of course. He turns off the computer and sits back, and he takes a dramatic, deep breath and exhales as if the world is finally off of his shoulders now that he has finally paid his debt. And I think it would be badass, like a nice little twist to end the series. Bobby Richter, aka Brad and Ryan, wrote our favorite show because he wanted to tell the truth about a good man and fulfilled a promise so a ghost could live forever. Now, how do you think you would end the series of American Horror Story? And what do you think of American Horror Story being a product of Bobby Richter? Tell me your opinion in the comments and we'll chat. Of course, if you want to discuss this theory further, join the Freaks of AHS on Facebook. That is my personal American Horror Story Facebook group. As usual, weekly Wednesday live streams are every Wednesday on my channel. This Wednesday, I will be on vacation, but I will still live stream. Episode 6 review of American Horror Stories will be a little late as I won't return from vacation until Friday, August 13th. Until then, check out my new and old AHS theory videos, such as Constance Langdon is a witch, Jenny Reynolds is Miss Mead, Roundstairs in AHS, the finale of American Horror Story 1984 featured every single season, and so on. Reviews, and of course, I have true crime videos too, so you have plenty to watch. Till then, thank you all so much for watching, and beware of our girl, Sexy Scathach. That bitch best not show up on my vacation if she knows what's good for her.
Beware of Sexy Scathach.